Hamilton, in my opinion, was huge. I did not expect the glasses to go on. That threw me off for a second.
It's getting dark outside, so this screen is getting bright in my eyes. This is when you gotta bring out the blue light glasses. Or maybe put the Homer glasses on, if you will. I'm not really sure if I'm even homering. I'm very neutral on the Ravens.
Hello, and welcome to Updog Sports Talk.
Updog.
AFC North edition. Joining me today is Justin McGovern. What is up, Justin?
Matt, I am excited. This video will definitely be a lot of fun. Also, it's kind of sad at the same time. This is the last of our preview series. After this, we'll preview every team in the NFL, but definitely, I know there is one team in this video that you are more excited to preview than the rest. But first of all, we're going to start with one of the rest. So in the AFC North, first of all, the Baltimore Ravens. This team, injuries were the theme with this team last year. Literally, like everybody on their team got hurt. It was just crazy how rough this was. And you'll notice the theme throughout this preview about how does everyone recover from a torn ACL or Achilles, because that was a big problem. So yeah, definitely. The big question is, Lamar has this contract coming up. It doesn't sound like it's going to get done before the season. I don't think
give that man his money, but he wants it fully guaranteed, like Deshaun Watson. So that's like the effect of that. We can get into that later, but it all comes down to guaranteed money. He wants a fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think he minds playing out the contract this year and just make it. I think he'll play. He will come out and play well enough to try to force the team.
He wasn't in his rookie deal, right? Or was that his rookie deal?
This is the end of his rookie deal. Yeah.
Damn. Getting an MVP on your rookie deal, give that man guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Running backs though, J.K. Dobbins coming back from injury. Good to see him back in the lineup, but he's got to be the player he was before that injury. Gus the Bus may be able to take some of the load off. And then they got Mike Davis.
The question is, I mean, for both of them recovering from injury, because J.K. Dobbins got hurt. It was like, okay, this is Gus the Bus's backfield now. Then Gus the Bus got hurt like a week later. Same injury, both tore their ACLs. How do both of them recover from that? I know speed is a little bit more Dobbins' game than it is for Gus the Bus, but it's going to be tough for them, and especially early in the year. So we'll see what Mike Davis can do. He looks good as a reserve for McCaffrey a few years ago, and then
he was good last year. No, he was halfway decent in Arizona, but they had other plans. They wanted Cordero Patterson to be the running back, to be pretty much Deebo Samuel, but at the running back position.
I will correct you. It's Atlanta, not you had the right track, but you said the wrong.
What'd I say?
You said Arizona.
Oh shit. Well, I meant Atlanta, other side of the country. But offensive line, very decent. This is a solid roster. My question mark and everyone's question mark has always been receiver. Bateman, he played pretty well last year for what the circumstances gave him, but he's got to show me more in this receiving core. But trading away Hollywood Brown hurts
big time. Yeah, and I mean Bateman, he was a rookie last year. He was hurt before the season, so like he didn't even start playing until middle of the year. He played literally like I think 1 or 2 games of Lamar Jackson last year. Like, so the entire time that he was playing during the year was all with Tyler Huntley. Like, so how ready is he to be the number one guy? It doesn't matter because he's the only guy they have, because the other receivers aren't good. But that being said, expect to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. Mark Andrews is one of the best in the game. And then this 4th-round rookie, Isaiah Likely, has looked extremely good so far throughout camp and preseason. Expect him to be out there a lot too.
Yeah, he's likely to get some playing time.
Oh, come on. No.
Hey, I'm a
No,
dad. I
that
got to
was
do my dad jokes.
on this edition of Matt's Dad
Offensively, they're going to be a running football team. That's what their identity is until they show me that they are willing to sign another receiver.
Absolutely.
And I think the only one out there right now is OBJ, and I don't know. I don't think he's going there.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that's a fit. Will Fuller might be the other option, but I don't know how many more injured-prone players they want on this team.
Defensively, though, looking pretty strong. They got one of the best secondaries in the NFL, if not the best.
Yes.
And then getting Kyle Hamilton, in my opinion, was huge. I did not expect the glasses to go on.
It's
that
like
threw me off for a second.
It's getting dark outside, so this screen is getting bright in my eyes. This is when you gotta bring out the blue light glasses. Or maybe put the Homer glasses on, if you will. I'm not really sure if I'm even homering. I'm very neutral on the Ravens, so but yeah, this secondary is excellent at the top. Obviously, Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey are one of the best duos in the game. They also added Kyle Fuller this offseason, even though he struggled last year. But I mean, like, this secondary was a disaster last year because they were not healthy at all.
Yeah, but now they got depth too.
Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters didn't play at all, really. And then the safeties were kind of exposed as not good. So that's why, like you said, the key addition of Kyle Hamilton. Also, Marcus Williams from the Saints is one of the best players in the secondary. Yeah. So they've done a lot. They've done a lot to help improve this. And like you said, improve the depth as well.
Just a couple people on the defensive line. That's all I'm worried about. A Jobu or a Jabu. Having that, was it Achilles?
Yeah, Achilles tear.
Yeah, having that Achilles tear
process.
He fell to the right team for him.
For sure.
Ravens seem to always have a stout defense, and they're just going to make him better. It's a question of being healthy.
I don't think Ajobo is going to get to play this year. Now, if he does, he may provide a nice boost for a playoff run, but
later
I don't think he's going to be able to play this year. The torn Achilles is a lot to recover from.
Yeah, but otherwise, they're pretty. They're pretty stout defense, which is ironic because their punter's name is Stout.
Yeah. Obviously, Tyus Bowser is another big pass rusher. He needs to be. He needs to. Hopefully, his recovery from his torn ACL goes well. I mean, just what is up with this team? And that is literally a theme that you notice among all these players. Oh, this guy was a really good player, but he tore his ACL last year. This guy was really good, but he tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
It's crazy what happened to this team last year. It's just, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
They got hit with injuries. Came at the right time for the Bengals, but
yeah. So yeah, recovering from that will be a big deal this year. Yeah, overall, I could see this team making a playoff run and they're contender for a division. It's just
AFC is deep.
Yeah. It's also a matter of health. And then also one other thing for the offense is that before Lamar got hurt, teams started blitzing him and he did not figure it out. How's he work on that this offseason and get better against the blitz?
Yeah. So who we got next?
Those would be big keys for this team. Okay, I know you're excited for up next. Because up next is the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm surprised for this one you didn't put your sunglasses on because Justin has Joe Burrow sunglasses.
Mine are not as cool as those. Mine are the cheap off-brand version.
Yeah, it's probably yours is probably like $6 and his is probably like at least 400.
Close, $7. But yeah, I mean, obviously, since this is a very personal show here for you, I'm gonna go ahead and let you take this one away.
So, really excited about the Bengals this year, especially offensively. Still a couple question marks defensively, but I'll get to that here in a second. One of the deepest wide receiver rooms in the NFL. outside of Chase, like the big three, outside of Chase, Higgins, and Boyd, we all know that the three of them are really good. But Kendrick Pryor and there was another guy that they had on there who was just tearing it up in the preseason. So he has a shot to make it. He looked pretty good. So maybe they got another receiver to add into the mix. But Jamar Chase, one of the best receivers in the NFL. Higgins, not too far behind. Just different type of receiver. Joe Burrow, I love Joe Burrow. Like I got a Joe Burrow jersey. Like he's different from what Cincinnati's had in the past. He has a personality. Ice in his veins. He has a higher IQ than a football IQ than both of us combined. And I think probably only Tom Brady has a higher football IQ. This dude is smart. He knows what to do with the football and win.
But it's amazing. I mean, just to interject for a moment, like, has there ever been, because everyone talks about getting the number one overall pick, but a lot of times number one overall pick doesn't live up to expectations. I mean, when's the last time a number one overall pick has impacted the franchise so quickly?
When's the last I don't time? Know. Well, I mean, they all impacted them so quickly. Johnny Manziel kept the Browns down.
Well, he was a number one overall pick either.
Oh, that's true.
Actually, I would say, I mean, it might be Peyton Manning. Might be the last time a number one overall pick.
But even then, impact. They didn't even do that great that season. Moving back to the Bengals, though, offensive line, they got Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, and Lyle Collins. Three just bigger, meatier men up front to protect Joe Burrow.
One of these days we'll have to explain that joke.
Yeah, but not today. Jackson Carman got hit with some pretty damning stuff, so don't even know if he's going to end up getting a suspension or not. I'm not going to touch on that. But Cordell Volson, huge pickup for the Bengals. He's been killing it. He actually had a couple plays where he messed up against the Giants last night, but that defensive line is much improved. So going up against their starters and having a pretty solid night with all backups around you, not bad. Hayden Hurst, I've loved Hayden Hurst since he was in Baltimore, and he bounced around the league a little bit since, but very solid. He's going to be better hands than CJ Uzomah, just not as energetic in the locker room, but a great locker room guy. So CJ Uzomah's energy is going to be missed, but that's where Joe Burrow steps up. It's his third year. It's his team. But Joe Mixon, I'd have him as a top 5 running back had he had better offensive lines. Samaje Perine might actually lose his job to Chris Evans. No, not Captain America, the other Chris Evans. Chris Evans has been just absolutely killing it, and Perine kind of struggled mightily last year. So look for Evans to have a good bounce back season. And then just side note, Jaquez Patrick. I don't know any of you watched the XFL, but he was the guy in Tampa who just had 32 carries, 250 yards, and like 4 touchdowns. So had him last year, and then they cut him. So hopefully he could fight for a spot on this roster. But defensively, love the defensive line. Hubbard's pretty solid. He has his moments of kind of slacking off, but not slacking off, but just not getting there. But Hendrickson, very, very underrated pass rusher. Nobody talks about it, but he had one of the better seasons last year. It was just overshadowed by TJ Watt's season. And then Logan Wilson, stud. Got married in the offseason, so he's focused fully on football now. And then Jermaine Pratt and Akeem Davis Gaither, very solid players. Davis Gaither going to be a good fill-in guy. Eli Apple has actually been shutting Jamar Chase down in practice. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that's funny. Jamar Chase sucks now. But no, Eli Apple has stepped up his game. The only reason in one practice why he gave up a touchdown to Chase was because Chase made a ridiculous in the basket catch through Apple and caught it and fell into the end zone. I think Eli Apple's going to have a strong, at least start to the season. He may fall off, but I would love to see Jesse Bates back in a Bengals uniform. Don't know if we're going to see that ever again, but Dax Hill has a very strong camp, very strong preseason, so I'm not too worried. I was actually hoping they'd keep Bates and then move Hill to Bell's position after they let Bell go. But Woozier is one of the best corners, and Mike Hilton's one of the best slot corners in the NFL. So they got a very, very strong team again. A lot of people hate on them because they're the Bengals, but if you take the name aside of it and just look at the roster from top down, this team has what it takes to get to the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there because, I mean, you look at this team. I mean, obviously, when we came into this preview last year, like we had some pretty I mean, we didn't pick it on our leaderboard or anything, but we had some pretty optimistic spins of what this team could be. And even the best case scenario that we mentioned of what this team could be was by far surpassed by what they did. It was
they were a Joe Burrow tossed downfield away from winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the Bengals have been that close 3 times.
And they did all of that. And people seem to want to think that they're a fluke and stuff, but no, they did that whole run. And now they added an offensive line to the team. Like, yeah, expect this team to be towards the top. They're in a competitive division, but I mean, at the very least, they're going to make the playoffs again. And definitely compete for the division as well. And they're a competitor in the playoffs to make the Super Bowl again. Not something you hear very often for a team that lost in the Super Bowl because there seems to be some sort of hex against that. But I think this team is one that could make it back to back because this young group just, like they don't know how hard it is almost, the whole run, they didn't seem overwhelmed by anything. And
they didn't they didn't care. But
and a lot of times,
breaking news,
Super Bowl loser.
Breaking news: Updog Sports Talk is going to Bengals Bills game in January. So we will be there to root on our teams and see whose team is better in the regular season, and then more than likely we'll see whose team is better in the postseason. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting for them, exciting for the Bills too. But since we're in the AFC North video, just focus on the Bengals for now. But definitely happier times in Cincinnati with Paycor Stadium. They're adding a bar. They're adding a new scoreboard. It's just
it's going to be a fun facility is finally here.
Indoor practice bubble. They're going to build a facility at some point in their lives.
I mean, it's some sort of indoor practice facility. No more waiting for the UC women's lacrosse team to get done with practice so they can practice when it snows.
Yeah. So bright future ahead for the Bengals. So yeah. See what happens when Mike Brown gives up control. Good things happen.
Very good things.
Had to get my last shot in. Who do we got next?
That was fun. Now for something potentially less fun, the Cleveland Browns. The main thing that we have to talk about with this offseason is just drama, and just so many distractions.
And I didn't know so many people watch TNT.
And this...
You know why? Because they know drama.
Oh my gosh, another dad joke. I thought we had a limit of 1 per video, but...
No, 1 per team.
But yeah, this team just had so much of that this offseason between the whole Baker Mayfield thing. They didn't like him anymore and all that. And then now they bring in Deshaun Watson, the most controversial quarterback in the NFL. There's a lot of things that we could say here that we'll try to hold back from.
Yeah.
So that we don't become a toxic show. But yeah, I wonder, just even overcoming those distractions is a big thing. And obviously Deshaun Watson was acquired, but he's going to be suspended the first 11 games. So what does this team look like being led by Jacoby Brissett? I mean, obviously he's okay. He was once trusted to lead the Colts. we'll see what happens there. But obviously, they got some good running backs. Nick Chubb is a stud. Will they give him the ball enough? Who knows?
Don't forget. Brissett actually got a shot with the Patriots because Jimmy G was like, I'm not feeling good today.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. He led them to a win too.
But yeah, I think he's solid, but in this division, you gotta do a little bit better. I mean, they're gonna be relying heavily on Chubb and Hunt, and I mean, if you keep going further down the depth chart, Dearness Johnson, solid. And then Jerome Ford actually is having a very good preseason. So
not surprised by that.
But Kareem Hunt did request a trade. They denied it. But that doesn't mean that they won't go forward with the trade at some point. So got to keep an eye on that. But they got solid depth at running back. Offensive line, they still have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Receivers suck. Amari Cooper, we'll see how he does with Jacoby Brissett. That's all I'm going to say about that. But talented receiver otherwise. Donovan Peoples-Jones, moving on.
He's very inconsistent. Every once in a while he can make a big catch and stuff, but that's about it. Otherwise, he has issues with drops and David Bell.
I know you don't like him, but I'm a pretty big fan of David Bell. I mean, like, this is a decent team for him to be on. Needing receivers and eventually having.
Don't forget that Bell got hurt during camp too, so that kind of set them back at being ready to play this year. And
well, it's not like they had much else, so.
Yeah. Tight end
and Njoku coming back is huge for them, having a familiar face there. Not very deep outside of that.
Yeah. I know they have a younger guy who was a rookie last year, Harrison Bryant. We'll see if he gets better. Usually, second year can typically be a little bit of a jump for tight ends. Takes them a little bit longer to learn in the NFL. But yeah, what will this offensive line look like also? Because remember, don't forget they lost both their starter and their backup center to torn ACLs already, so that will be one issue on the line. But otherwise, a pretty solid group up there. It's just a question of, health, and I mean, does Nick Chubb get enough carries? Give the guy the ball. Last year, he vanished from the offense. What happened with that?
They had to pass the ball a lot. Moving on to the defense, though, they got a solid defense again. Middle of the line is a little they've always been kind of weak there. But outside linebacker, I mean, they got Clowney and Garrett, two of the best defensive ends in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I really like him. I really did not want to see him go to the Browns, but he did. Now we have to live with it. Very solid. He just needs to take another step up this year. But middle linebacker, they probably could use a little bit of help there. But their secondary is probably.
I will mention that Anthony Walker is also a good player at the linebacker position.
Oh yeah, he was on the Colts.
I think so.
Yeah,
I can't remember. Other than that, he got there like immediately out of Northwestern. But yeah, he's a pretty good player too.
But listen to this secondary: Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, John Johnson III, Greedy Williams, Greg Newsome, and Ronnie Harrison. And then, just for a joke, because a lot of our fans are Bengals fans, AJ Green. But they're pretty deep in the secondary. Like they got some guys, so they're going to be solid. I mean, it's a lot of the defenses in the division have bolstered up to stop Lamar Jackson from running or Joe Burrow from just tossing the ball all over the place.
Yeah, definitely. I know Greedy Williams in the secondary. He needs to stay healthy because he's had a hard time with that. And then Grant Delpit and Ronnie Harrison were big names in college. They haven't quite shown that they can reach the potential they showed yet in the NFL, but maybe one of those two can step up this year and help them out a little bit. And then overall, we touched on the defensive line a little bit. the pass rush was weak last year, despite the fact that they had two of the best defensive ends in the game. How did that happen? I don't
We know
understand.
Jadeveon Clowney's better against the run than he is the pass. So they pretty much only had
even then though, like
and Garrett.
Even then, Garrett put up Garrett was top 5 in sacks. Clowney got 9 sacks, but then no one else outside them could put pressure on the quarterback. They were still, I believe, they're like bottom.
They were hogging it all.
Bottom 10 in pressure rate. So
yeah,
they need to improve on that. And yeah, overall, like, how does this team even look after all the drama? It will be interesting to see. There'll definitely be a lot of it, even when Watson comes back late in the year. And with a tough schedule, it'll be a big question of, is Watson coming back too late for them to make a playoff run? They might be too late at that point.
Yeah. So who we got last?
We got the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a season of change for Pittsburgh. As you can see in the picture that we picked here, Heinz, the bottle has come off the stadium. It is no longer Heinz Field, which is just crazy to think about because it's pretty much been Heinz Field as long as we can remember.
Literally everybody in the NFL knows it as Heinz Field. Nobody's going to call it anything else. You could put a Kriser up there. You could put whatever you want up there. Everyone's still going to call it Heinz Field. Just like when
up there?
Whatever, a Kriser, I don't know how to say it. Nobody knows.
No one knows what it is.
Insurance company from Michigan, that one.
But and then atop of the law, Big Ben retired. He's been their quarterback for many years.
Best. Probably for the best because they.
I mean, yeah, he was.
Regardless of who they have behind center this season, they're going to be better than Big Ben.
Yeah, he looked like he was throwing a pancake last year. But mentioning who's under center, looking at the offense here, it looks like Mitch Trubisky is going to be the starter to start out the year.
He's going to get the nod only because of experience. And it's I was watching the Pat McAfee show earlier today, and they were talking about how if Trubisky came from Matt Nagy to the Steelers, he would be terrible. But the fact that he got to sit behind Josh Allen and watch a system where they value their QB, unlike what Nagy and Pace had in Chicago, I think it gave him a renewed energy. I'm not going to say he's going to light the world on fire, but I think he's going to be better than expected. Still has yet to throw pick 6 in the NFL, so if he keeps that streak alive in this division, I'm going to be a little surprised. But but man, small hands, Kenny Pickett, he's looked really good this preseason.
He's looked like a star out there. And I mean, don't forget, this guy was a quarterback who was so cool. He literally got a play outlawed from NCAA football. Like, he did a fake slide, and it literally had to become a rule. He did a one-of-a-kind play that'll never be replicated.
Yeah, he did it once and banned. But I do like their receiving core. I mean, I hate to say that as a Bengals fan wearing a Bengals jersey. I'm trying to be as cordial as possible here. I'm trying to keep it show related, not personal. I'm trying to take personal feelings aside, but Deontay Johnson, he's solid. But this is the year where we figure out, does he fall off a cliff or does he continue to get better? George Pickens seems to be just flying past people. Don't know why he fell that late in the second round. But
allegedly it was because of off-field concerns, that kind of thing. But I mean, to be fair, also, like, injuries were a concern with him. He missed a lot of time in college because of injuries. That's why, like, even to some people that haven't paid much attention, they probably didn't know who he was even coming out because he didn't play much in college.
Yeah, but I mean, behind the three of them, they don't have a whole lot.
We didn't mention Chase Claypool. We didn't mention Chase Claypool yet. I know that's who you're going to mention next. Obviously, he looked great as a rookie, but
I moved on to everyone behind him on the depth chart. But I like Claypool. He's just kind of an idiot when it comes to, hey, probably shouldn't be celebrating when got to get back to the line. But Muth, probably one of the best up and coming tight ends.
Yeah, he's really good.
Very solid, but outside of that, I mean, they got their running backs. Najee Harris is probably going to be a top 10 if they had a better offensive line, top 5 running back in the NFL. Benny Snell, not a bad backup, and then they actually have a guy,
Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, he's been killing it in preseason. So looks like he might get the 3rd spot locked up.
He may have to take unseat Snell for the 2nd spot too at some point.
Yeah, I think Snell understands the system a little bit better. That's why I'm at the beginning of the season. I think they're going to stick with him as a 2, but not a bad surrounding core. If they were better at quarterback, I'd give them a better chance. But their offensive line is terrible,
and they didn't do enough to address it this offseason. Like they tried to make a few additions, but
32nd in payroll offense.
Yeah, it's so bad. And honestly, this is what makes me least optimistic about the Steelers. It's just their offensive line is just so bad. And now one of the biggest problems for Trubisky so far in preseason has been the fact that he keeps looking down the line and what's going on there, not really paying attention to his receivers even. Yeah. And that may end up giving the edge to Pickett at some point this year because Pickett's been kind of more likely to pay attention to receivers and kind of fired it out there to a guy and try to throw him open. So we'll see how that develops as the year goes on.
I mean, Mike Tomlin is the head coach, so we'll see if he can figure it out.
Yeah, eventually figure it out. Defensive side of the ball here. Can they figure out the run defense? Because it was bad last year. Like there were times where you were watching a team go up against the Steelers. Like I think the Thursday night game when the Vikings played them was the biggest example where like the Vikings literally looks like Alabama going up against Southern Miss when they were running the ball. Like it was crazy how awful they were at stopping the run. The Steelers still possess like a tremendous pass rush, but man, they were bad stopping the run. Tyson Alualu is back from injury, so that'll help. But Stephon Tuitt retired, so
that's a big hole.
They added Ogunjobi to hopefully
not a fat joke. That's just a big hole to fill.
Ogunjobi might help a little bit, but he's more known as a pass rusher and also has almost completed the AFC North cycle at this point. I think he only has the Ravens to go to be with every team in that division. But obviously TJ Watt, we have to mention he's one of the best, if not the best defensive end in the NFL right now. It's crazy what he's doing.
Yeah, he came out with a quote the other day saying, did you guys remember my brother in his prime? Like he's talking about JJ, and he still thinks his brother was better than him. So that's a little scary, especially with that sibling rivalry. We got to speed it up a little bit because we are running out of time. But Devin Bush, a lot of potential, didn't live up to expectations.
Looking like a bust so far.
Yeah. Miles Jack came in. He's kind of older, so he may have lost his touch, but not a solid pick. Like not a bad pickup. Pretty solid. Secondary is where it kind of gets a little dicey. Corners, they got Cameron Sutton, but they don't really have much. And Minka Fitzpatrick is their only guy. Yeah. And they have Terrell Edmonds, but he kind of underwhelmed. So they got a lot to figure out. But overall, not a terrible football team.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, this is Mike Tomlin coach team. They're somehow going to find a way to get a winning record this year, but I think they'll fall short of playoff contention.
Yeah. So what is the outlook that we got, Justin?
What are our picks? Matt, I'll let you go ahead and go first here.
All right. Next time I see you, I'm slapping you in the face. Bengals, I can't say that they're going to make the Super Bowl just because AFC is pretty strong. At this point, they're competing with mainly the Chargers and the Bills, but the Chargers have their holes. We went over that in a different video, but Bengals are up there. They're fighting for that Super Bowl again. Ravens, they have a solid team to dethrone the Bengals in the division, but ultimately, I think the Bengals just have a deeper team, and honestly, I really don't think they care about matchups anymore. I have the Steelers going third in the division only because of the Deshaun Watson situation. Um, I think if the Browns have a solid team, but I think because Watson's out for so long, plus we don't know what Watson we're getting. He didn't play last year, and the last time we saw him, he wasn't playing all that great. So uh, we can uh, we can kind of see how they pan out and how he is when he comes back. But I just think the Browns are kind of uh, chalking this one up pretty early. But I got the Steelers going third, but I don't think either of the bottom two teams are gonna compete for the division.
Yeah, I
Or a
agree with
wild
that.
card spot for that matter.
But yeah, so the Ravens, I think, are built for a strong regular season. That secondary is just gonna be tough to throw on all year. They're looking like a really good team. I have them just barely edging out the Bengals for the division this year, but I see both teams as playoff teams for sure. They just barely get it. But when we're talking about playoffs, I'm actually more optimistic about the Bengals' chances than the Ravens' chances. I think that's where the Ravens will begin to fall short. But I think in the regular season, the Ravens will look really good. Um, those two are easily 1 and 2 right now. 3 and 4, it's a bit of a gap. I do think both the Browns and the Steelers will end with winning records. Um, the Browns, I'm a little bit more optimistic on Watson. I also just looked at this roster overall. It's a pretty strong roster. Brissett is not gonna get him the wins over like some of the really strong teams in their schedule, but he's gonna be able to kind of keep them in games and also help them to beat like teams like the Falcons and the Jets they should beat.
I'd say if he
So I
has
think that helps them out.
150 yards, I'd say if he has 150 yards a game and pretty smart with the football, getting like 1 to 2 touchdowns, and then leaving it up to Chubb and Hunt, they could go super old school with this and just like run the ball all the time.
Yeah. And I suspect that's what they'll try to do. Hopefully, I mean, who knows? I didn't see them throwing 50 times with Baker Mayfield having a torn labrum and like whatever else he had going on, and like letting him go out there and throw 4 picks, or having him run out there to pass the ball every play against a bad Steelers run defense and try to let TJ Watt set the sack record. So who
Yeah.
knows? I guess I took a more optimistic view with them though. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, this is not a big gap between the Steelers and the Browns in any way. I think maybe the Browns just grab a tiebreaker. I see both of them as roughly 9 and 8 teams, and neither one of them make the playoffs either. But yeah, that's how I see it panning out.
So that is the AFC North. Got any last second things you want to say, Justin?
I probably shouldn't say too much more. We are almost out of time here, Matt.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes. So that is all. That is the AFC North. Follow
That's
us
the NFL
on.
preview series as well.
Yeah, that's the. I forgot. That is the last little bit that we're doing. Wrapped everything up pretty neatly. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter at Updog Sports Talk on all of it. Hit the subscribe button. Give us a hit the bell button to get notifications. And yeah, just show us some love. Love you guys, and can't wait to see what the season brings. See you guys.
Yeah, let's have a good season.